After years and years of speculation about whether Ferrari was ever going to make an SUV, well, it's finally here. The Purosangue, as it's called, the latest sports car from Ferrari, and we got a sneak peek at the Purosangue in Maranello. I'll tell you all about it, how it looks, how the interiors are, what the engine is like, what all new technology you can find on the Purosangue, and the ultimate question, is it an SUV? Let's find out. Well, first up, Ferrari says that the Purosangue is not an SUV. It's a sports car that they make which you can take off-road on bad roads and handle conditions like snow and ice. About that, we'll come to later. First up is the design. The Purosangue gives a lot of emphasis on being a Ferrari. You, of course, get the prancing horse badge up front, but you also get a rather sharp design that has a very unique identity. You get a lot of aerodynamic work that's going on. In fact, all around the car, there are lots of aerodynamic pieces that are finished in carbon fiber so that it takes away your eyes from noticing on the aerodynamics and rather notice the lines of the car. The first thing that you'll notice as soon as the doors open, what Ferrari calls welcome doors, but I would say suicide doors. So it has 4 doors, it's a 4-seater, and the rear doors open rearwards at a 79-degree angle. They've designed a brand new bracket to make that happen, and I have to say, with both the doors open, with the clamshell bonnet up, the Purosangue really will evocate a lot of good memories for most people. The front is also an interesting design. Right above the LED DRLs, you'll see one air intake vent, you'll see one below that. The upper vent takes the air onto the bonnet for added aerodynamics. The lower vent takes it towards the braking area, also makes a wheel curtain in front of the front wheels to aid in aerodynamics. And you have to see that with their Formula 1 and other racing experience, Ferrari is really working hard on the aerodynamics of their cars, and they really integrated well in their road cars. That's my impression of it. In fact, at the rear, the Purosangue doesn't even get a wiper because they built in vortexes into the bottom of the top spoiler at the rear, which means that at speed, the airflow itself cleans out the windshield and you don't have to use a wiper to do that. That and a million other clever touches are there which really help how the Purosangue cuts through the air, how it performs aerodynamically. How does it look? Well, it looks a little unusual, but I think in a brighter color, unlike the silver that you're seeing on the screen right now, in a brighter color, it will really accentuate the dark, blackish aerodynamic elements of the car, and I think it really stands out and will certainly be a head turner on the roads. Of course, the next big question is how is the interior, and I have to say it's a completely different, radical take on what interiors should look like, and very similar to other sports cars in the Ferrari lineup. There's no central multimedia screen, there's no huge range of buttons, and each of the 4 occupants, the Purosangue will only be offered as a 4-seater, not as a 5-seater. All 4 occupants get their own individual screens, and that's about pretty large. I think that's about 12 inches in size. That gives you all the information. Your steering has all the controls that you need, and very minimal controls, only about the gearbox and a few other things. Like if you choose for the panoramic sunroof, the standard sunroof is carbon fiber to save weight to make the car stiffer. If you choose the panoramic sunroof, you can lighten the shade, you can darken the shade depending on how strong the sun is. A few climate elements are built into the center console. You also get a similar control in the between the 2 rear seats. Space-wise, the front's really nice. You get lots of space. The rear, while getting in and out, is very easy. You see, with suicide doors, that's what happens. You have a very large opening that makes getting into the car and out a very easy job. Space is decent, but the seats seem a little small. That's something we'll have to look at when we get to test the Purosangue, hopefully sometime in 2023. And overall, though, with the current sort of levels of fit and finish and quality that Ferrari has, Purosangue has a pretty nice interior, and 4 people will certainly enjoy sitting inside it. What you'll also enjoy are the rear doors, which are electrically powered. So not only can you open them with the press of a button fully, but even to close them, all you have to do is keep the button pressed and they close themselves. So that way, I think great theatrics, rather practical cabin and something to look forward to for enthusiasts and for passengers alike. Of course, engineering of a Ferrari, especially the engine, is at the heart of everything, and the Purosangue doesn't disappoint. A lot of people expected hybrids, maybe some kind of battery power, but this is a pure, naturally aspirated, brand new V12 engine. It's from the same family of 65-degree engines that are currently used in other cars, but it's brand new. 6.5 liters, 715 bhp, a red line of 8,250 rpm. Ferrari's done special work on the intake manifolds, on other parts of the engine, on the exhaust to make sure it has the iconic V12 sound that we all expect from a Ferrari. The engine is mounted front mid, which means it's mounted quite far back. That's why when you open the windshield clamshell bonnet, you'll see that the engine's mounted right below where the windshield base is. In fact, it might be mounted a little even further back. So that does make a compromise on the interior space and the practicality. But what it does with the weight so close to the center of the car is that Purosangue has a perfect 49-51 weight distribution. The weight is behind the front axle, which means it handles like a true Ferrari sports car, in the words of its chief engineer. Of course, to help it go off-road, help it tackle bad roads, bad weather conditions, it has all-wheel drive, which is basically most of the drive goes to the rear transaxle. It has a new 8-speed dual clutch gearbox that's based on the same 7-speed but enhanced and more customized for the Purosangue. The front wheels are driven by a power transfer unit that takes the power from the engine, and the ECU regulates how much power and torque is distributed depending on the weather conditions and road conditions. Another interesting engineering touch, in fact, two of them that I'll talk about. It has rear wheel steering. A lot of luxury and sports cars do now. It really helps in making the car more agile and turn faster. But I think this is the first one. I could be wrong here, but this is the first one where the two wheels can operate independently of each other. You see, in conventional rear wheel steerings, both wheels will turn the same way, but in this, only one wheel can be turned and the other can remain same, or both can be turned. So that helps, especially when you're transiting through corners. So that's going to be interesting. And I think some of the most advanced work that Ferrari is doing, other than their aerodynamics and their engine, is the suspension technology. Now, we asked the chief engineer if they considered air suspension for the Purosangue. They said no, because it is too slow for their liking. It is too slow to react. So they have active suspension. They have 48-volt units at each end that controls suspension. It actively works as anti-roll bars. It stiffens suspension, or makes it more comfortable depending on how the road conditions are changing. In fact, even at most attacking conditions, like you're taking the Purosangue around a track, if they find that one part of the car is rising too high, they can actively take that part down up to 10 mm to make sure the contact patch of the tire is perfect. So that's, I think, one thing that I'm really looking forward to seeing, and how it makes the Purosangue drive. So overall, what do I think of the Purosangue? Well, I think, as Ferrari says, it's not an SUV. It's a taller car, 185 mm of ground clearance, practical car for seating, decent sized boot that you can take onto, well, bad roads, slightly off-road conditions, but it still remains a sports car at heart. Some might be disappointed, no hybrid, but I'm okay with that. Moreover, I think this is going to sort of increase the demand for Ferrari's products further and further, because it looks great, it gives you the full theatrics. It's a V12, and I'm sure they have enough collectors lining up already with their order books ready. Deliveries of the Purosangue begin in Europe in Q2 2023, and pricing, well, we only know the pricing that's in Europe, just under 400,000 euros. So when it comes to India, well, in about a year's time, hopefully, it should, I think, be priced somewhere upwards of the 7 crore rupee bracket. But it definitely is a Ferrari that you could drive every day, even in Indian road conditions.